an MK Ultra Victor. Oh. You don't want to be here. Something beautiful. Yo, what's up, everybody? Lord have mercy. All right, what did I fucking forget today? I set the day count. Got headphones. Got the chat going. I might have forgotten viewers, but it's a cold morning out there. I don't expect anybody to be up on this shit. I don't know how I'm here myself. See, Logic ending the last stream with hell yeah, blaze it. Couldn't agree more. And I think that we're live on Twitch and Facebook and Periscope and D Live and all that whatnot. So at the end of this, if I can make it the whole, when I finish this fucking thing, I'm not going to say if I make it like the whole 100 days straight, because there might be some kind of weird happenstance, or I might have to go on vacation, or someone might die, or I might die, or the United States might delve into a second civil war, which would be dope. I'm down. But anything could fucking happen at this point. So I'm not sure that I'll make it all one. It should take about 100 days. We should be done with this around the end of March. But at the end of the whole thing, if we manage to be true to our school and get the whole thing done, here, let me edge over a little bit here. But yeah, if we manage to get the whole thing done, I'm going to go on a fucking vacation after having spent every single morning for like a third of a year working on this. All right, what are we drinking today? We've got cherry lemon La Croix. I hope that's really insufferable when I say it that way. And then on top of that, I've got this Boss coffee right here. I haven't tried this shit before. It is apparently flash brewed by hot water and cooled down rapidly to lock in the rich taste. This method is historically applied to Boss coffee in Japan. And I might go to Japan this year if I manage not to fuck up my relationship. So it's anybody's goddamn guess. What a day we have in front of us. I actually am taking a day off from work, so I can edit for as long as my body can take. How long is that? Probably about 3 hours, which is how long we've been doing it thus far. I see big Spathywah right there. Cherry lemon will be either awful or awesome. No, it is neither. La Croix is always mediocre. Okay, so Boss coffee is definitely a flavor all its own. And what do we got here? It feels like Friday. It does feel like Friday. That's why I'm taking the fucking day off. This is Friday. Got a fucking Christmas party to go to tonight, and I'm gonna see my girl tomorrow. There's like a team lunch. I'm gonna gorge myself on the succulent fruit of working full time while editing full time while doing a show full time. Let me see. And it's been like a kind of a long, strange. I might need to put on some fucking socks. I'm like, you see me like wiggling around and everything. See, I got my feet wrapped up in a set of thermal underwear because it's fucking cold in here. Hey Siri, what's the weather today, you slut?
It's currently clear and 18 degrees in
18
Newark.
fucking degrees.
Today's high will be 28 degrees, and the low will be 17.
I mean, you know, like it's pussy weather compared to what people are feeling elsewhere. I was walking around yesterday without a fucking coat, but yeah, we got to buckle down, boys. All right, yeah, maybe I'll do today some. I think I've charged up my what you call it. Why can't I think straight? I charged up some of the cameras that I want to use. So, oh, Oh, Linux got fucking zapped. Uh, Great time to shelter in place with a nice piece of ass. I kind of gotta agree with you right there. I think that's an ingenious idea. You notice that like I'm a different color today than I was the days previously. For whatever reason, white balance, like the previous days, I was like a ghoul, and today we're just like the right color. So this is absolutely up to the camera. I've got it on auto white balance, so it just decides some days I'm gonna be bright and beautiful. I wonder if it has to do with the fucking color of the shirt that I'm wearing. Whatever auto white balance will do. Okay, so let's get down to the story. If you've never watched the stream before, it's not just me talking shit constantly. It's a little bit me just talking shit constantly, but it's actually the story of a young woman who has become very depressed. She attempts suicide and is thwarted in her attempt by a meteorite, and she attempts to take revenge on everyone, especially meteorites. No, it's not. It's not quite what it's all about. But thus far, we're about 19 chapters in. We've edited this chapter before, but we're going to give it a second pass because we just spent 3 days, maybe 4 days, really, editing the critical chapter 18, and it's so much fucking better. We really did some fantastic work. I had some great edits from the audience. And that's the thing that's kind of interesting about this one is if you're in the audience and you give us an edit, I will take your edits and think about them and maybe even implement them. And at the end of this whole thing, I'm going to have a big thank you page for everybody who participated in this that I can remember. So try to be, I guess try your best to be memorable. You're a good God Almighty. All right, how much? Yeah, we almost ran this machine out of juice right here. So we may hear like a little buzzing because I haven't fixed that fucking ground loop today. Today I'm going to be working a bit in the LRH studio. I want to set up a few different things and I might, I don't want to make too many promises to myself because usually on these days off, I only do like a tiny little bit of shit. But anyhow, so yeah, that's the story thus far. And let's try and warm up a little bit with our friend Charles. I wonder where Jordan O. Apparently, Jordan O. released a rap for the rap contest, and it's not what you would think. It's wild. So I did prize the memory. No, we didn't quite. Praise the senses, raptures in the mind. No, I think we skipped a bunch of these. Let's do the bad monk. There was a time when all refectory walls were frescoed with kind images. No, let's begin again. That's why we warm up here. There was a time when all refectory walls were frescoed with the images of the truth, whose influence, kindling pious appetite, tempered the chill of their austerity. Christ was the master then, and more than one illustrious and unremembered monk would scour the cemetery for his theme and for his models, glorifying death. My habitation for eternity is standing bare, the tomb that is my soul. I haunt the naked walls of this sad place. O slothful Cenobite, what shall I make the living pageant of my misery into the work of my hands and the love of my eyes? Shoutouts to Baudelaire. It's actually, when shall I make the living pageant of my misery into the work of my hands and the love of my eyes? Yeah, it's like, definitely I would behoove myself to read ahead a little bit in our poems, but that's just trying to get a little practice in for sight reading and so forth. So shout out to Die for IRC in the chat. I'm seeing Big Jira, Big Stratum, Big Spathiwa, real ones, each and every one of you. Yeah, you guys have really been on a lot of this fucking journey for me. I hope you're enjoying the story thus far. Yeah, I don't know how people are gonna fucking like this when all is said and done. It's not like anything that I've written before. And people, a lot of people haven't liked the shit that I've written before. So anyhow, this is chapter 19. Lynn Harris had warned Freya not to go downtown alone, but she couldn't go back to the empty house. Her discovery would bounce around in her head, faster and faster, until she went into full meltdown. See, this is not... I'm sorry. Uh, no, nobody would fucking think like that. Yeah, I don't like the walls of her head. That's not how somebody thinks about their own fucking skull. Mm. Yeah, let's just dive right into it by ruining a sentence. Mm-hmm. Mm. No, that's not good. Let's see. What are we trying to say here? Well, we're trying to get across the idea that this idea is caught in her head, and everything is ramping up faster and faster, like a runaway engine or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, holy shit. I need to like fucking. I need fuzzy slippers or an electric blanket or fucking something, man. Like that's, my feet's be cold. Mm. Buongiorno, fagotas and fagatas. Hey, buongiorno. Wait, I'm saying something in the other chat. The Soviets established a colony on the moon and achieved fully automated luxury space communism. The American government can't afford to let people realize that they actually lost the Cold War, and the Soviets went to space to fulfill Lenin's legacy, which is why there have been no moon landings since the 70s. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Fucking moon commies. Oh, shout out to Big Lenin. What a weirdo. Okay, I don't like this paragraph. Let's see how it sounds. Lynn Harris had warned Freya not to go downtown alone, but she couldn't go back to the empty house. With no way to vent her discovery, the ideas would bounce around in her head faster and faster until she went into full meltdown. The Starball was an alien. Not a meteorite, not a military satellite, not a dream or a figment of her imagination. An alien object carried in her pocket for weeks. Again, she thought about the first night where the shell had split. The way she'd been stuck as she was handling it, the tiny dot of blood. It was just a piece of the shell, Freya told herself. She looked at every part of the Starball. There were no protrusions, nothing that could pierce her skin. Still, she couldn't help but shudder at the thought. What if it put something in me? This was too big, too much for her to process. Freya had a queasy feeling the horizon was beginning to spin. She sat down on the curb and shut her eyes, afraid she might pass out. When that didn't help, she tried the breathing exercise from the Fragile Phoenix. Breathe out negativity. Breathe in tranquility. Mm-hmm. It didn't help. Yeah, so I wanted to add something about how, like, this time, like, the spell was Animana. If didn't help, what the fuck is wrong with you? Pages. What a POS. It didn't help. When Freya tried to clear her mind, all she could see was the bright... when Freya tried to clear her mind, all she could see was the bright red drop of blood on her palm, glittering in the halogen lights. She realized she was sitting on the sidewalk, hugging her knees and rocking back and forth with her eyes shut. If anyone saw her, they would think she was retarded. Yeah, I'm definitely leaving that in there. What do we got here? So yeah, they would be mercury vapor lamps or high pressure sodiums. So it's daylight outside. We're not talking about the street lights. We're talking about the lights from the kitchen, right? Which is where she originally handled the star ball, and where she immediately got stuck. So it goes on a little bit in that chapter about them being halogen light. But this, look, if we look back here, let's go back here. All she could see was the bright red drop of blood on her palm, glittering in the halogen lights. So here, this is a flashback. I don't know how useful it would be to of Lassa's kitchen. It's kind of clunky to say halogen kitchen lights. It didn't help. When Freya tried to clear her mind, all she could see was the bright red drop of blood on her palm, glittering in the halogen kitchen lights. Glittering in the halogen lights. I'm going to leave it like that, yeah. But you're 100% right that street lamps are either high-pressure sodium in a few cases, or mercury vapor, or increasingly they're LEDs. And probably at the time of the story, 2029, even in like a pretty rural spot, they would be LEDs. So good notes. One thing I always like bringing up with people is, have you ever been like walking in the dark and then the street lamps start cutting out? You know what I mean? Like sometimes it'll happen. You'll be like walking along and like one by one they'll shut off like right as you walk underneath of them. And I'm sure it's just a coincidence or whatever. But let me see. So all she could do back. So you can say that this is a memory right here. When Freya tried to clear her mind. You could just say all she could remember was the red drop of. It was the memory of the, yeah, let's just fucking breeze through it. Like if we have an issue there, if lights do that when you move under them, that means that you're a slider. I think everybody has had that weird street light interference exchange. Oh, that's kind of cool. I kind of like that. Yeah, we'll let that one slide for the time being there. Just I don't think it's worth dwelling on there. That I think that is a note that the real editor might take a look at. The real editor is also going to try and yank "she was retarded." Should just put in the comment, "do not cut." Fear of being seen was enough to get her back on her feet. A car was climbing the hill to Grayson. What type of car? Mm-hmm. Let's have it be an Acura. An Acura was climbing the hill to Grayson. A navy blue Acura was climbing the hill to Grayson, and the middle-aged man driving it was staring at Freya. She didn't recognize him. He was probably someone's dad. She gave a limp wave and walked away, trying not to seem like she was fleeing. What did I comment here? Okay, so I commented that this was a good spot to talk about how well-intentioned people can be kind of insufferable. Street lamp interference data exchange. That's so cool. That's like some SCP project type shit. I'll tell you a little bit about the SCP project, which I thought was fucking amazing. But if you go and hang out with some of those people online, they're like completely batshit left wing, like literally engaging in straight up thought police. And I don't mind people who are left wing when they're open to discussing ideas. Really, like the big part where I disagree with them is I don't like people who can't deal with free speech, because I'm never going to successfully modulate my own speech. You know, I don't have that capability. And so like any one of these social groups, it's just a matter of time before I'm like ousted and defeated. Yeah, I was like really disappointed there, because there were so many cool ideas, and I think a lot of the original cast got chased out of there, and really like the recent projects have not been so good. And I mean, this is a personal taste thing, but I don't think that you can be strongly in favor of repressing speech and be a really strong writer. I don't think it's possible to have those two things. I think some respect for like the hard edges of the world is necessary, or everything that you write comes across like a little bit coddled, and it has like a little of that weird propaganda tinge to it, right? I think there has been some okay ideological writing done from like true believers who really believe in something. But I think the vast majority of people engaging in like, oh, well, we can't say those words, and like, oh, we shouldn't say that, and you know, that's hate speech or whatever. I mean, the vast majority of people engaging in that kind of thought are not really passionate about it. Most of them are just, you know, this is the cultural signifier for being a part of this group. And I think privately, quite a few of these people do not believe their own bullshit. Anyhow, now that we've red-pilled this stream, I guess, she gave a limp wave and walked away, trying not to seem like she was fleeing. Behind her, tires slowly ground to a halt. She braced herself. If that man got out of the car, she was going to bolt. Freya didn't look back until she was at the bottom of the hill, and then she checked to make sure he hadn't turned around and followed her. The Acura was gone. Perfect. So, as we're writing this, if you see spots where we can make a small change to make the story more creepy, we always want to go to that, because originally this scene right here where some guy is like kind of following her and she's a little bit paranoid, originally that's not there. And I think this story would be well served, because I mean, this is a creepy fucking thing that's happening. There is an alien thing in this girl's pocket, and that's fucking creepy. You know, she's getting the shit kicked out of her at high school, also creepy. So we added a little bit in previous chapters about how she was afraid to just be walking around, and she was like seeing the face of the girl that had beaten her, you know, all this. We don't want to overdo it, but where we find spots where we can creep up the story a little bit, be helpful. The Acura was gone. Her hand was in her pocket, clutching the star ball because she was nervous. Freya's hand was in her pocket, clutching the star ball because she was nervous. She shook her head at herself. So here, it's not the active, like Freya put her hand in her pocket, clutching the star ball. It's passive, because she finds her hand in her pocket. It's not a conscious choice to put this hand in her pocket. I don't know. Why is this fucking... Hold on. I can't... Somebody zap that fool in the stream. I would love to not have to fucking deal with Eads again. I thought we were pretty conclusive the last time that we dealt with this guy. But, so it goes. All right, what do we have here? The worst part was there was no one she could talk to. Certainly not Lassa. Dr. Garbuglio had told her she could call any time, but she would honestly rather drown. It was her own fault for being so weak and driving everyone away. No one was left to help her. So, Freya looked up at the tree. There were so many leaves. How many leaves were there? She counted. There were 69,450 leaves. What? What's that fucking from? I remember it faintly, but I don't remember what the fuck that was from. Fucking Wisconsin. For the 1,000th time, she cursed Betty's mother for taking her best friend away. It was 3 p.m, and the streets were empty. Everyone had finished lunch, and they were back in their offices digesting. Heavy-lidded eyes peered out at her from delis and barber shops, but nothing delis in the barber shop. Let's give a name to this deli. Who's the fattest poet? Daniel Lambert. Who is Daniel Lambert? $50 stone, 700 pounds. Yeah. Heavy-lidded eyes peered out at her from Lambert's Delicatessen and Cervantes' barbershop. Yeah, I would love to make that Cervantes. Heavy-lidded eyes peered out at her from Lambert's Delicatessen and Miguel's barber shop, but nothing registered. They would forget her as soon as she moved out of the frame. For all its old-fashioned light posts and... No matter how many old-fashioned light posts and red brick sidewalls, they... No, this is a bad bad sentence. When she looked past all the old-fashioned light posts and red brick sidewalks, bronze historical markers, and carefully kept planters full of sneeze weeds and daylilies, there was just nothing to this town. Okay, so this is a serious run-on sentence. But nothing registered. They would forget her as soon as she moved out of the frame. For all the old-fashioned light posts and red brick sidewalks, the bronze historical markers and carefully... the tarnished bronze historical markers and carefully kept planters full of sneeze weeds and daylilies. There was just nothing to this town. Tourists stopped here to get gasoline and ice cream. They thought, how quaint, and then they never returned. When Freya left for college, she was never coming back. If she left for college. All right, what do we got here? I'm having trouble. Oh, so Jordan O says, I'm having trouble uploading the track to SoundCloud. Why? I'm like, what fucking trouble are you having? You make a SoundCloud account. You put the MP3 up there. He says, I think it's because it's an MP3. It didn't used to be like this. Literally, like, just save the MP3 file. Make sure it's not open in Fruity Loops or whatever the fuck. And then you just drag it into fucking SoundCloud. If you're having trouble uploading, they do have like a new 50 track limit or something like that. Most people are just making like a new throwaway SoundCloud account and then just hooking it up to there. So that's it. Yeah. If you can't make it happen by the end of the day or whatever, like I'll grant you an extension to make it happen, but I am requiring everybody submit these the same way. And it's just, that's the right way to do it. So yeah, give it a shot, but like, also you could try just bouncing it to a wave if it won't take MP3, but I don't get it. But, lol. All right, what do we got here? Yeah, so just like we're seeing some like more creepy stalkerish fucking activity right there. We have zero fucking patience for this shit any longer. Like at this point, anybody who's doing that shit, we just start compiling a fucking file. I won't talk to you. I won't mention you by name or anything like that. I just put it in the fucking file. And, you know, when I have enough, we'll go after you legally. Like, that's it. So, I really just don't care otherwise. Do whatever the fuck you want. Like, I'll get you eventually. Because I know that you get drunk and do stupid shit. And you can't fucking help yourself. So, all right, what do we got here? Okay, so Spathywa says, DM me here if you need tech support. And that's a real offer. Thank you for offering to help him out there, Spathy. If she left for college. Freya walked down the winding path to Thoreau Bridge Park. The Silas River ran wide and shallow here. A rusting railroad bridge scrawled with graffiti ran alongside a newer span of concrete. It had been tagged too, but they'd blasted all the spray paint off in ugly vitiligo blotches. Across the Silas was the abandoned textile mill, two tall black smokestacks with ivy spiraling around them, and walls of crumbling brick that were more moss than mortar. She walked under the bridges, looking up at the dark space where the hill met the underside, but there were only empty bottles standing up on the concrete ledge. Up ahead there was a bench overhung with a tupelo tree that was half bald. Okay, so bridges there looks wrong. I know that within the context of the story there are two bridges, but I don't think bridges looks right there. I think just bridge word tracks a little bit better. Let's go to it. Freya walked down the winding path to Thoreau Bridge Park. The Silas River ran wide and shallow here. A rusting railroad bridge scrawled with graffiti. Yeah, so that's where we can make this change. No. Yeah, a rusting railroad bridge scrawled with graffiti ran alongside a newer span of concrete. They'd tagged the new bridge too, but utility workers had blasted all the spray paint off in ugly vitiligo blotches. Better. Weird website author. Got it. Email incoming. Awesome. That's amazing, Jordan. No. Yeah, everybody who's out there, tell all your friends. Let's get like more disses in there. We got plenty of fucking beats. But the disses, they're lacking. So we need more. How do you like it? How do you like it? Across the silos was the old abandoned textile mill, two tall black smokestacks with ivy spiraling around them. I think we can get rid of the ivy. Oh, I like overrun with ivy better than ivy spiraling around them. Across the silos was the abandoned old textile mill. Oh. Across the silos was the abandoned textile mill, two tall black smokestacks overrun with ivy and sighing walls of crumbling brick that were more okay, yeah. Two tall black smokestacks overrun with ivy rose above walls of crumbling brick that were more moss than mortar. Love it. Love it. Fucking low effort shit. I'm laughing, but also not caring. Oh, I gotta say, Boss Coffee is not fucking bad right there. I'm at 7 o'clock. I'm gonna. Oh, it's shit. It's almost 7 o'clock now. When I finish this coffee, I'm gonna go out. We'll take like a 10-minute break, and I'm gonna get fancy coffee from the store because it's fucking work from home day. Never gonna charge my phone again. All right, what do we got here? So someone named Alyssa started a PlayStation Network with Jordan O's email address. So potentially, the let me see. Potentially, that's like an old ex-girlfriend named Alyssa. I think I've definitely slept with at least one girl named Alyssa. I'm trying to think if there were more than one. I don't know why, but every woman that I've ever dated named Alyssa had large breasts. Let me know if you've had a similar experience. It might just be like one of those logical fallacies. What? All right, what do we got here? So Spathiwa is saying, "What happened here?" I love that. Like it's 6 in the morning. We've or it's like 7 a.m. and like some imbecile half the country away is totally outraged at what we've got going on here. Wait, wait. Jordan O got removed from where? Did you get banned from YouTube? All right, well, let me know if like we keep like having all this. Hold on, I'm gonna pause actually and actually turn off IRC because it's fucking distracting me. All this activity going on there. We are back. All right, what do we got here? All right, I'm gonna smart up and holler at some fucking socks. Yeah, one of my favorite raps of all time is it's like just about dudes like trying to bum fucking cigarettes and hits of weed and drinks and shit like that. And the end of the song, it just gets more and more ridiculous. And it's like a guy, yo, like, can I borrow a toothbrush? Let me holler at them socks, playa. I'll never fucking forget that. God, fucking love hip hop. Yeah, so I don't know what Jordan O did to get banned off the chat, but if he got moderated, it was probably by one of the other moderators in the channel who did it secretly. I can sort it out later, but yeah, like it's not here. So I've just turned off fucking IRC there. I don't need retards intruding on my editing right here. I can still see all your chats in the YouTube and everything though. So real talk. Except apparently not Jordan knows. Whoa. Carpet of red spread beneath it. So Impulse Filters says, I don't think I'm banned. No, not fucking banned. Like, the thing is, like, I don't do any moderating or whatever while I'm fucking working on this here. So, all right, let's get back into it. Freya, mm-hmm. All right, cool. Well, what are we doing? How are we doing in coffee there? Okay. Let's take a 5-minute break to fucking center ourselves, and then we shall return. Hell yeah. Fucking out here. Whoa. Yeah, man. All kinds of shit. It's fucking rather chilly right here. I have to like So eventually maybe we'll set up a studio that has like a big roaring fireplace and then what if that was fucking going on in the background, all that crackling and whatnot. I don't know. I don't know if that would be better or worse or whatever. But yeah, just have the start of the stream be me going out there chopping wood. Fucking that's sounding cozy as fuck right there. Yeah, when I get fired from my job and banned from New York, maybe I'll think about that there. Up ahead, there was a bench beneath a half-bald tupelo tree. A carpet of red spread beneath it. Freya swept fallen leaves off the slats with her hand. I think it's understood that she uses her hand there. There was a stretch of rapids downriver from the bridge, and Freya wondered if she might have washed up there. She should have weighed herself down before she jumped in. How would she do it? People were always slipping out of ropes as they rotted. She wondered if a climbing harness would work. Nylon straps would hold up for a long time. Back here again. That was one solution to that. Yeah. Back here again already. Freya tried to think about something else. It was useless to just sit here and pick at the wound. She tried to remember the feeling of drowning, how badly she wanted to get out of the river. She'd fought so hard. Where was that person when she needed her? Where was that Freya when Where was that Freya when she was lying on her back in the rain, when she was hiding in a bathroom stall? She reached into her pocket for the star ball. She couldn't ignore it any longer. She held the orb in her palm and began to dread what it meant. This would be an enormous deal. She would be the girl who found She would be the girl who found evidence of alien life. She would have to explain what she was doing at Silas River Park on a rainy night. Would have to lie and said she'd been there to look at the Torrids. There would be interviews, articles, 1,000 kinds of attention she didn't want. They'd take the star ball away from her, and most likely they'd wind up cutting it open to figure out what was going on with it. If they went to the wrong scientist and got the government involved, they would certainly try to cover the whole thing up. They would put Lasse and Freya in some kind of top-secret protective custody. It was just too big of a deal not to. As Freya stared down at the star ball, she realized she didn't have to... violet orb there, but I think we use orb. We'll throw sphere up there so that we can use orb later, because I think violet orb is right there. As Freya stared down at the violet orb, she realized she didn't have to actually have to tell anyone. No one ever had to find out about this. The enormity of the idea welled up around her. It was the biggest secret in the history of the world. Freya Jokla, who kept the only evidence of extraterrestrial life in the pocket of her jeans. She could reveal it any time she wanted to, or never. It was such a monstrously selfish act. She could barely believe she'd thought of it. Okay, so here... Yeah, we're going to change this chapter. So here we're going to write an additional part of this scene. As I feel Like just her staring sadly at a river is not action. Wasn't it described as purple before? I use violet and purple interchangeably here because I'm a dude. What are you, some kind of fag? Tell the difference between colors. Shout outs to color blindness correlating to heterosexuality. I wonder if that's true. Huh. I'm interested now. Mm-hmm. Racial colorblindness and interracial colorblind ideology is a form of racism. Handedness and no gay gene, no straight gene, or any gay blend. Colorblind, I guess Cora right here. Being gay doesn't have the effect of me seeing color. So differences in hypothalamic structure. Yeah, I do wonder if there is some correlation, but I don't see it. Colorblind, whatever. I just want the fucking research, Google. I don't need to get into all this. I don't know why I'm so ADD today, but mm-hmm. Oh, he's not behind her. So this is like a kind of a difficult one. How the fuck are you going to like, maybe like, whoop. Mm-hmm. You out here playing marbles with yourself? Mm. Mm-hmm. 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 Who dares to fucking summon me? Oh, I got Jordan O's diss track submission. There we go. Well done. Well done. Mm. Oh yeah, that is definitely redundant. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, I agree. Okay. Mm. Mm. What's this, Freya? Oh, what's the fucking what you call? You know what I'm trying to say here? How do you describe a it's not like sing song. You know what I'm saying? Actually, hold on. Let's thesaurus this up. Because we don't. It's not quite sing song. Sort of like mocking, humdrum, tedious. It's not monotonous. Yeah. Warbling, cantillate. Warble is like close to. Carol and warble are especially applied to the. I guess we could use warble. Doesn't like quite track. Intoning, crooning. Crooning could work. I gotta hear crooning. Hold on, let's lilt. No, lilt sounds too homosexual. I don't want to smear the homosexuals with his yeah, I do like crooning there because it's just like croon falls into that range of words like creep and clod and sneer. Like the like kind of associated with a lot of this. We don't want this guy to just be a cartoon villain either. He needs to like have a reason for what he's doing. You out here playing with yourself, Jokla? Malcolm teased in an infantile voice. She knew he was doing it to make her mad. It still worked. Give it back, Freya demanded. Or what? Are you going to tattle on me again? I didn't say shit. You were on camera, stupid. I told you to leave me alone. Mm-hmm. Mm. What the fuck does this have to do with anything? This is so brave. So his whatever. So like his big brother is gay, which is weird. Usually it's the little brothers that are the gay ones or whatever. She seems pretty accepting. Well, just tell the dad now, retard. So he has some time to like process it. I mean, that's where you get into trouble. Like you don't give people time to like process their emotions, especially men. Like most men, like something shitty happens to them. And I'm not trying to say that your son being a gay is shitty, but it's definitely a significant change that that dude will have to adjust to. Um, but yeah, like if I found out, for instance, that my dog was gay, right? I don't have a son, but I can talk about a dog. Um, the like if I found out my dog was gay, it would take me like a day or two to adjust and be like, okay, well, I just gotta, you know, I guess that's what all that humping was about. And I assume a son is like, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15% more important to you than a dog. So yeah, it would take, just give this guy a couple of fucking days to wrap his mind around the concept of his son wrapping his lips around a cock, and he'll get over it. Like it's only gonna fuck up Christmas because they're like afraid to tell him, and like literally, he should have like emailed his dad. By the way, I'm gay years ago, and it's just things have to get out into the open to ever be resolved. So that's my advice there. I don't know why this individual so brave is up in this channel right here. It's probably just copy paste, I would assume. But it's interesting to boyfriend. BF can mean best friend. In this case, it definitely means boyfriend. That's definitely a bro is gay. What the fuck? Wake up, computer. Come back to life. Bring me back to life. All right. Let me see. Actually, I should fucking change the battery settings at some point. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm, 768 pages. God, is it going to be 800 pages by the time we fucking finish? Because we have probably like 3 or 4 chapters that we're going to add into this. And like right now, we're going to add another 2 or 3 pages to this chapter because we're changing the direction that we're going here. Mm-hmm. quivering is one of those words that a little of that goes a long way. How many instances of quivering are in my story? 4. 4 is too many. Oh, how fucking far did we go? Oh God. We gotta go back to 19. There we go. Cool. Yeah, so 4 quivering. I think you can have like 2 quiverings in the book. You're okay. I think the other spot is where we're describing some A's. Quivering, quavering. I would almost describe it as his voice getting like a little throaty, but a little deep throaty, if you know what I'm fucking talking about. Hell yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I'm on top of it. Yeah. So during the process where we're like writing new chapters, there will be like a lot more of a phrase delete, phrase delete, phrase delete. And then when we go back over, when I read it again, that's where we're closer to a final thing. Yeah, I wonder if she should have like a gun or a knife or something here, because it's like that hectic. She would straight up stab a bitch over this. Mm. Okay, we probably have to talk a little bit about how cold it is as we're running through this. Mm. So I don't know if you've ever had this happen to you, but when I was younger and I was like in like I guess elementary school, and I would get in fights and try to remember how the fight had gone afterward, I would always like remember the fist fight as if it were happening to somebody else, like as if I were observing from outside of the scene. It was weird. Like I'm not sure exactly what the fuck was going on there. Whether that's just, you hear about the fight from other people describing it and that becomes your memory or something like that. Or the weird way that you can kind of remember pictures, but definitely in periods of like high stress, sometimes your recollections will be almost in third person, which is like kind of just like a weird trick of memory. Um, that's because we're locked in a video game, and that's when the player goes out into third person POV. But shout out to Elon. Oh, shout outs to in like the best part about this is at this point in technology, all cell phones are waterproof. So her cell phone would have survived this. So I was just thinking how the fuck she's gonna get out of the situation. Oh, so much better. What did we lose at the end of the chapter? Oh, she would definitely grab that star ball into her palm before she did any of this. What do we got here? Mm, Spathy, why you could not be more wrong. There are two buttons on the iPhone. There's one on the right hand side, and then there is a volume button on the left hand side. Two volume buttons. So yeah, there are still buttons on new iPhones. You wanna know how I know? Sitting right here, motherfucker. I got that shit. Hell yeah. Hold on. Let me take a picture of how wrong you are. Who? Which one triggers Siri? The right hand side button. Here, check this out. Hey Siri, how wrong is fucking? Oh wait, hold on. How long?
I don't know how to respond to that.
Where the weed at?
Okay, here's what I found.
Okay. All right, there we go. But yeah, there's a button on the right hand side. Now, like 9 years from now, is there really gonna be a fucking button on the side of an iPhone? No one knows. No one knows. I only have a 5 for dev stuff. I have a few iPhone 5s floating around for dev shit too. So I hear you, man. But LOL. That's pretty fucking funny. I'm glad we got that shit through. Uh, yeah, it's so sorry to like gloat there, but it's so seldom that I'm right and just know that I'm right. Uh Self-pwned again. Oh, that was the best pwns. The bird. I love the term flipping someone the bird. Like, how did it become a bird? I fucking love that. Ooh, fucking love it. So I'm glad we get to keep our Bound for the Bottom chapter right there. So super good. This really fulfills a lot of my goals for the piece right there, and I'm very happy with the outcome here. We're not done editing either. There's going to be I'm going to stop the stream, but I think after a brief break, we're going to do a second editing stream today. I'm just going to get some more coffee, maybe a little breakfast, and I think I'm going to lift some weights, then we'll get down to it. So, we still have to, before we do all that, we still have to read through this chapter. But already, we've taken a chapter that was just really somebody feeling sorry for themselves and not much else, like sitting on a fucking bench. Like at this chapter used to just be girl leaves high school, wanders through town, hates town, sits on bench, feels sad, decides not to alert the authorities about the alien in her pocket, right? Now, all kinds of shit is happening in this chapter. We have like some creepy dude stopping his car to look at her hurrying along. We have like her talking shit on the town, sitting down, coming to that conclusion, and then being attacked by like this creepy stalker person who just pops up behind her. Let me take a look here. Freya was smiling, but not for long. There we go. Freya was smiled. Freya smiled, but not for long. The leaves drifted by on the Silas River and disappeared in the rapids, bound for the bottom. Hell yeah. Okay, so let's start here. As Freya stared down at the violet orb, she realized she didn't actually have to tell anyone. No one ever had to find out about this. The enormity of the idea welled up around her. It was the biggest secret in the history of the world. Freya Jokla, who kept the only evidence of extraterrestrial life in the pocket of her jeans. She could reveal it at any time she wanted to, or never. It was such a monstrously selfish act, she could barely believe she'd thought of it. Freya smiled. She was certain she would never tell anyone. A hand shot out from behind Freya and plucked the starball out of her palm. She yelped with surprise and leapt to her feet. Okay, so this is we need to break that up a little bit. A hand shot out from behind Freya and plucked. So I don't like starting shit with suddenly or without warning or out of the blue or whatever. A hand shot out from behind Freya and plucked the starball out of her palm. She yelped with surprise and leapt to her feet. Yeah, she's bawling. A hand shot out from behind Freya and plucked the starball out of her palm. She was too slow to react. Her fingers closed on nothing. She yelped. Wheeling around with both fists balled. I think I use wheeling way too much in this. Malcolm Lewis had snuck up behind her. He had a self-satisfied grin. Mm-hmm. So, there's a lot of focus on what's happening with her hands there, and I do think that you need to specify that both of her fists are balled. You know what I'm saying? So, hand here. A hand shot out from behind Freya and plucked the starball out of her palm. She was too slow to react. Her fingers closed on nothing. With a yelp, she jumped to her feet, wheeling around with both fists balled. Yeah, we need. With a yelp, she jumped to her feet, wheeling around with fists balled. Yeah, it doesn't. We need both. Malcolm Lewis had snuck up behind her. Mm. He smirked as he held it out between thumb and forefinger. Better. He wielded a self-satisfied grin with great contempt. Yeah, just like smirked is better. Smirking. Smirking and a merkin. Give it back, she demanded at once. Give it back, she demanded. What's this, Freya? Malcolm crooned. She darted forward to grab the starball back, but he held it up. Too high for her to reach. You out here playing with yourself, Jokla? Malcolm teased in an infantile voice. She knew he was doing it to make her mad. It still worked. Give it back, Freya. Give it back. Or what? Malcolm teased. Oh, so we... Or what? Are you going to snitch on me again? I didn't say shit. You were on camera, stupid. It's your own fault. I told you to leave me alone. That wiped the grin off his face. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't know... I didn't know... I like that better. That wasn't my fault. I didn't know Tammy would do that. I didn't do anything. That shit wasn't my fault. I didn't even do anything. I literally just sat down next to you. Tracks so much better. Perfect. That shit wasn't my fault. Why? There were other places to sit. Why do you keep following me around? It's so creepy. I've asked you so many times to stop. I didn't do anything to you, Malcolm repeated, as if that would convince her he was right. I was just being friendly and saying hi. Why do you have to be such a stuck-up bitch? Why do you have to be so stuck up? I don't want to talk to you. I don't like you. Just fucking leave me alone. Freya was almost screaming at him. He flinched, as if her words had hurt him physically. Okay, Freya. Go ahead and be on your own. No one else gives a fuck about you, Malcolm hissed. Yeah, so this is a sticking point here, because it's really going to say a lot about the character. He was squinting and looked like he was about to cry. Freya stared back at him, wondering if he was doing this to Freya stared back at him. Was he doing this to manipulate her? Or had he really intended for this to work out differently? Either way, she wanted nothing to do with him. When she didn't respond, he turned his back on her and started walking away. Hey, fucking give it back, Freya howled at his back. No, this? Here, Malcolm said. No, this? Here, Malcolm said. Malcolm turned around. Oh, this? Here. Malcolm turned around. There was no weight on his voice now. The sad expression was gone. He acted like he was going to throw the stall. He acted like he was going to toss the star ball back to her. He acted like he was going to toss the star ball back to her, but then he wound up and threw it as hard as he could. She watched the star ball arc through the air and plunge into the river. Go and fucking get it, he spat. We already used hist. Yeah, we can all. I hate. Oh shit, Big Pokery just sent me a chat message. I gotta see this. Wait, did he fucking send in a, I hate the use of sneer. Taunted is better. Go and fucking get it, he taunted. Okay, hold up. This is a Pokery emergency. I gotta see if he sent me a rap. Oh shit. Oh, that's amazing. So Big Pokery might be sending in a rap. That would be fucking incredible. Hell yeah. I'm so happy about that. Ah, fucking amazing. Okay. Hey, fucking give it back. Oh, this? Here. Malcolm turned around. There was no weight on his voice now. The sad expression was gone. He acted like he was going to toss the star ball back to her, but then he wound up and threw it as hard as he could. Freya watched the star ball arc through the air and plunge into the river. Before he could get the... Go and fucking get it, he taunted. Before he could get the words out of his mouth, she was running down the hill. She hit the shore and never hesitated, wading out into the river. Eyes locked... eyes locked on the spot where the starball fell. Before he could get the words out of his mouth, she was running down the hill. She hit the shore and never hesitated, crashing into the river with her eyes locked on the spot where the starball fell. Cold black water was in her shoes, soaking her legs, and she kept going, wading in waist deep. The river was so cold it forced the air out of her chest, but she kept going. But she didn't stop. Malcolm was shouting behind her. She couldn't understand him. She only heard the river. She only heard the water splashing around her. As she neared the center of the river, the water was chest deep, and she started... As she neared the center of the river, the water was chest deep. She began to swim, wishing she'd stopped to take her shoes off. She was near the spot she thought the starball had fallen, and she dove down to look for it. The cold water was stunning at first, but after a few moments she could bear it. She clawed at the riverbed and came up with nothing but mud. A part of her knew this was insane, that it was impossible to find a marble thrown into a river, but it was all she had. She ignored it. The starball was all she had. Freya ran out of air and went back up to breathe. The current was carrying her downriver. The cold had driven all her thought... See, it's not actually freezing. The cold water had driven all her thoughts away. She felt strangely as if she was watching this happen to someone else. She dove again, concentrating only on the starball. She grabbed them. Did we already use claw? Mm-hmm. She felt a familiar shape. Okay. Freya ran out of air and went back up to breathe. The current was carrying her downriver. The cold water had driven all her thoughts away. She felt strangely as if she was watching this happen to someone else. She dove again, concentrating only on the starball. She was grasping the mud at the river bottom, getting nothing but fistfuls of cold clay. At last her fingers closed around something hard. She felt a familiar shape in her palm. She had it. The starball was the only warmth in the world. She swam for the opposite side of the river, trying to get as far away from Malcolm as she could. It was awkward swimming with the orb locked in her fist, but she wouldn't let go. She reached the opposite bank and climbed out. Just like last time, her shoulders were hunching and her teeth were chattering, but she didn't care. She had it. Freya bent down and shook her hand in the river, washing the mud off the starball. Fucking psycho, Malcolm yelled across the river. She stood up and looked back at him, holding the starball. She held up the starball, then flipped him the bird. Her hands were so numb it was difficult to get the starball back in her pocket. She got her phone out. It was meant to be waterproof, but she'd never tested that before. Streaks of river water ran down the screen. You know, so I almost wanted to put something about how, like, pixels enlarge. Let's see. I don't know anymore. Brain is fried from fried. She was grasping. So let's actually hold on. Let's do grasp at here. And then clawing here, right? The nice thing is there's like a progression there, because grasping is like one level of desperation, and then clawing is a deeper level of desperation. So we have some sort of progression there, which I like. Fucking psycho, Malcolm yelled across the river. Freya stood up, wringing her hand. She held up the starball, then flipped him the bird. Her hands were so numb it was difficult to get the starball back into her pocket afterward. She managed to get her phone out of the other pocket. It was meant to be waterproof, but she'd never tested that before. Streaks of river water ran down the screen, but it lit up right away when she held down the button. Hey, Siri, call a cab, Freya chattered. It took a few tries for hey, Siri, call a cab. It took a few tries for the phone to get the phone to understand her. Across the river, Malcolm saw she had the phone out. Across the river, Malcolm saw she had a phone out, and he turned and ran. Freya smiled, but not for long. The leaves drifted by on the Silas River and disappeared into the rapids, bound for the bottom. There we go. Cool. All right, so next we have a Starball chapter. So I'm going to pause the stream here. I'm going to get some coffee. I'm going to let our brains reset a little bit. I'm going to do some cleaning up in the studio. Start organizing some of the wraps for this contest. So we're up to page 143 of 769. We're well over the quarter mark of this. Wait, no, I can't do fucking. We're not even close to the quarter mark. Here we're close to 25%. And that gets a little harder to get to as we're adding more pages. I'm really happy with the progress on that chapter. Shout out to Treb N there, who says nice work. So yeah, let me know. My big question on that chapter that we've just done there is how plausible is what we've just done here, right? How much do you believe the idea that somebody comes up behind us like, gotcha, bitch, and takes this out of her hand? Weird, right? I think that's a little stretch there. The idea that she fucking, that he throws this into the river and that she runs right in there after it. Do you believe that as a reader there? And you don't have to believe that she finds it, right? Because we justify that later, right? Because I think it's fucking just about impossible to get something out of a river like that. A justification for that is coming later. But do you believe at this point that that character is willing to just jump into a fucking river to go after her magic ball from outer space? I hope so, but it may be something that we need to come back and justify later. So yeah, definitely your thoughts are welcome on that. And I believe I'm going to try and do another editing session later in the day where I'll have to answer some calls from work potentially. But yeah, like fucking working from home, getting like a extra 3 or 4 hours of editing, that would be dope. All right, well, thank you to everybody. Again, I expect to do more of this later in the day. I don't promise everything, but you can get in here every morning at like 5, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we keep doing this. All right, as a former teenage boy, I believe the first part, finding the star ball is implausible. Her willingness to jump in the river is not surprising. She's literally only alive because of that thing. Okay, cool. That's what we need. We don't need the, in fact, we almost want the audience to be like, what? How'd she find the fucking thing? So it might be worth, you're too late again, but there are going to be more, we'll probably do another stream later today, maybe in the afternoon or evening or whatever there. But yeah, I want to get more editing in here. I would love to get up to if we get to chapter 25, like if we can edit 5, well, there's no way, yeah, but if we can edit like another few things today, once we get to chapter 25, I'm going to add like some additional challenges and stuff into the stream, because that's when we'll be like literally a quarter of the way through this book. Maybe not by volume, but at least by chapters. So yeah, thank you to everybody who tuned in. It may be worth adding like some point where she can't, actually, hold on, let's. Yeah, shout out to Axel Boost right there. Yeah, generally, wait, what time is it right now? Oh, well, usually we're ending at around 9 a.m. because I got to go to work. Okay, so let's fucking nod to the reader. Yes, this is almost impossible. Like that should not very reasonable for somebody to like pull this needle in a haystack mode. I justify it later. Yeah, old Ziggy Zaxy Wisey is not immune to or not unaware of the impossibility of his actions. All right, thank y'all all so much. We're gonna put a pin in it there, and I'll come back to this later. Just if you want to always know when we're doing this shit, please follow us on YouTube at just if you search for Zaxy Wisey on YouTube, you'll find my fucking channel. Follow us on Twitch, Twitter, all this other whatnot. The shit pops up absolutely everywhere. All right, love y'all.